Так, всі в укриття, вертуха йде. Куди? Стрім, РР, ніч.
Груза, як прийняв прийом.
24-й, то мій 24-й, блядь.
The situation at the Ukrainian front line remains very difficult at the moment. The enemy is on the assault towards two main directions, Chasiv Yar and Ocheretyne. But this summer only more assaults are expected, and one of the possible directions for this is the city of Kupyansk, Kharkiv region. The past 5 days, the tension on the front lines here only arises, so we wanted to meet with the soldiers who fly over these areas to see what's going on.
We arrived in this area relatively recently, and now the active phase has begun. Our main focus is surveillance to monitor and prevent any sudden enemy breakthroughs. If we identify any valuable equipment, our guys will engage with the FPV drones. Realistically, drone strikes are more effective than artillery strikes, even financially speaking, because we're much more likely to hit the target with a drone.
Escobar is disappointed by the number of artillery shells fired by Ukrainian troops in his area. The unit uses Ukrainian-made Valkyria and Leleka winged UAVs to spot enemy troops and equipment. But what they detect often remains untargeted for days. Massive offensives are being stopped north of Kharkiv and in the Donetsk region. That's why the US military aid hasn't reached this area to the fullest extent. This section of the front features a large river, the Oskil. During the Kharkiv counteroffensive in 2022, Ukrainian troops quickly pushed the enemy back across the river and then even successfully crossed it. Currently, Oskil is rather playing into the hands of the occupants. They are destroying the crossings, which complicates the logistics for the Ukrainian army on the left bank. All across the front line, the Ukrainian forces are building second and third lines of defense that include such Dragon T's or trenches system. And Kupyansk direction isn't an exception to that. If the worst case scenario happens and the first line is breached, the troops know where to retreat. To get the bigger picture, we visited the command post of a battalion defending the front line around Kupyansk. When we go inside, we are greeted by laughter. Although there is nothing funny about what is happening. Since early morning, the battalion commander and his subordinates have been leading the repulsion of the Russian assault. For a week now, the enemy has been actively trying to break through the defense in this area.
The enemy attempted to storm one of our positions with 6 soldiers. We repelled the assault with small arms fire and FPV drone strikes. The enemy suffered losses. One soldier retreated wounded, and the rest were killed in action. Over the past few days, we faced 2 or 3 attacks daily from different directions, with enemy groupings ranging in size from 6 to 20 soldiers.
A lot of things are happening. On the screen we see a group of Russians taking away a wounded man. An FPV drone flies right into them, but unfortunately the projectile does not explode. What a spectacle it would have been. At the same time, the drone spots a group of enemy helicopters in the sky.
Так, всі в укриття, вертуха йде. Де? Стрім, РР, ніч. О, присіли БТРу, там де ти приблизно...
Груза, як прийняв прийом.
Тобто наші.
Ні, то 24-й, то мій 24-й, блядь.
From the sky, you can also see the results of the soldiers' work over the past week. The trenches are littered with bodies and their parts. We are told that in this short period, the enemy has lost at least 50 people. Then the assault calms down, and we can ask the commander how he sees the situation developing in this area.
It's tough to predict what's going to happen next, but the enemy will keep trying. They have plenty of soldiers. They're practically being herded to the slaughter. We're holding the line and inflicting as much damage as possible. We want to deplete their manpower. So far, we're managing.
If you like what they are doing, please consider supporting the units in the video by following the QR on the screen or in the description to the video. Thanks.